I'm going to demonstrate to you how to cook the perfect basmati rice using Tilda Original Pure Basmati Rice. Now there's two methods of cooking this rice. You can use the traditional absorption method or the pasta cooking method. The one I'm going to show you here is how to use the absorption method. So first of all, when it comes to quantities, Tilda will recommend 60 grams per person, which is what I have in here. But for the demonstration purposes, I'm going to double those quantities so you'll have enough to serve 2 people. Now what I have here is 120 grams of the rice, and it's been soaking in cold water for about 30 minutes. This just softens the grain, and if you have time, do it, but it's not essential if you don't. And all I need to do now is rinse it under the cold tap until the water runs clear, just getting rid of any excess starch. So now all you need to do is just drain your rice through a sieve and then hold under a cold running tap just to get rid of any excess starch. So our rice has been drained, and let's just tip that into a saucepan. Now when it comes to quantities of water, for the absorption method, which is the traditional method that we're using, the general guideline is 1 part rice to 2 parts water. So for our 120 grams, our double portion of rice, I'm going to do 240 millilitres roughly of water. Let's put that straight into the pan. That's just cold water. And then pop it on a low heat and bring it up to a simmer. Now did you know that the basmati rice can only be grown at one place in the world, and that's the foothills of the Himalayas. Tilda work with 10,000 farmers who they know all by name, and each batch of rice is DNA tested to ensure its purity. As it's just come up to the simmer, so it's time to put on the lid. And I can see already that those grains are elongating, and it's going to give us some really nice fluffy rice. Now you want to leave this on a low heat for 10 minutes because I've soaked the rice. If you haven't soaked the rice, you could leave it for 12 minutes. But don't touch the lid, just leave it to cook on a low heat. So the rice has had 10 minutes of cooking time. I'm now going to turn off the heat, leave on the lid and just leave it to rest for 5 minutes. So the rice has been resting for 5 minutes and it's now time to remove the lid. And you can just smell that wonderful magical aroma that comes from the rice. It's got a really nutty smell. Now I haven't added any extra flavours in this at all because there's certainly no need to. The basmati itself has a fantastic flavour. If you wanted to, however, you could put in some cloves, maybe some cardamom pod, some lemon or some turmeric, just for the additional flavour to maybe suit a dish that you're cooking. And all I need to do now is just fluff this slightly with a fork, just to release the grains and make them extra light and fluffy. And you can see that they've elongated to up to twice their length. So we have our lovely light fluffy basmati rice, and I'm just going to serve this up onto the plate. So we have the equivalent of 2 servings here, that's 60 grams per person, so 120 grams of the dry weight rice. Now if you're buying a kilo bag, that gives you 16 portions, that's less than 30p per portion. So it's amazing how far basmati rice goes. And just to compare the difference between the long grain rice that I have here, I started off with 2 exactly the same quantities, 120 grams of each rice. We've got the basmati rice and the long grain rice. And you can see the difference in size when you've cooked it. It's lighter, it's fluffier, and it will go a lot further. So I hope this has explained to you a really simple method of how to cook your Tilda Pure Original Basmati Rice using the absorption method.